Hello everyone, this is Josh from Riscos Wrenches with another video on my lifted 1999 Lincoln Town Car. Now this video is going to be kind of filmed out of order. I originally was going to split this video into two of them, but it was just not enough content to make two really good videos, so I just smushed them together into one. And in both of those videos, I kind of did a figure eight on both of them, but I'm probably going to split up this video into sections. We'll cover what I did on the interior, then what I did in the trunk, and then what I did on the roof, obviously, because it's got a cool roof rack and some big old antennas on the back. And like I said, in both of the videos, I didn't do things in really any order. I was kind of bouncing around from the interior to the exterior to this, that, and the other thing. So it's going to be kind of filmed out of order. You'll probably notice like the roof rack on some parts where the roof rack's not supposed to be on yet, and things in the interior that aren't supposed to be done yet. It's just, don't pay attention to it. Any of the stuff that you see that's out of order, you will get shown what I did do it and how I mounted it and everything like that. So without me rambling on anymore, let's get right into it. Let's start off with everything we've done mechanically to this thing since the last time you guys saw it. First things first, like I said, we're going to align this thing so I can actually drive it again without throwing myself into a ditch or into another oncoming car in the opposite lane of travel. So let's get to it. All right, so let me show you guys kind of why I need to align this thing. Right now, it is pretty well level, and you guys can see that tire is, well, it's pretty cockeyed inward. Like I said, it already was kind of messed up before I put the lift on it, and it just kind of got worse with the tires. The driver's side is a lot worse. This is not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna, you know, like put a string on it and measure it and everything. I'm just gonna put it kind of a level on it, get it where it looks about right. Same thing with the angle of the tires. These things are a little bit misaligned. You guys can tell actually it's a scrubbing on the inside of the tire a little bit. These tires haven't been on there too long, and they're already wearing a little bit wonky. So this thing definitely really badly needs an alignment. Apparently it's not too bad to do an alignment to these things. You just loosen a couple nuts and it should just kind of whoop, whoop. So hopefully it's not too bad. Then for the steering rack, or then for the steering, because they're kind of misaligned a little bit, just one tie rod I need to grab with some channel locks and twist it until it's nice. So let's pop this thing's hood. Then we'll do that, and then we can mount these damn roof. I'm really excited to have this roof rack on here, man. It completes the look. I think I pulled up a forum post saying how you do all this crap and everything, and I think there was the size of the nuts on there. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So normally on your upper arms and everything to align it, you have these two bolts. One of them will do, you know, front to back like this. Then one of them will do tilting it like this, you know, tilting the wheel. That first one right there should tilt the wheel in or out. So we're just gonna spray that thing with some PB Blaster, take the lock nut off the top. The top nut on there, just kind of make sure they don't move. Then the bottom one is the one you actually turn to adjust it. So we're gonna go grab some PB Blaster and some sockets and everything. Then we'll hope and pray that I can actually move them. All right, so learning how this thing works, I took it apart a little bit farther than I really needed to, but it's not gonna hurt nothing. You guys can see right here, here's the little nut that goes on right there. It's got that little oblong shape. You guys can see it sits right there on that nut, just like this. And when it turns, it pushes that piece out that way. So now all we got to do is push that piece out that way. I'm going to maybe loosen up this back one a little bit just to make sure. I don't know if it needs to be loose or not, but I'll probably loosen up the top, this guy right here, just in case it needs to be loose. Then we'll twist this thing and hopefully it aligns itself. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect. I've got a level in my Firebird over here that I bought specifically for this. So it's not going to be perfect, but I mean, it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what it is right now. So that's all it needs to be. I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but it's still not very good. All right, so I've got this thing about as lined, about aligned as best as I possibly can. It's still sitting inward a fair bit. And I've adjusted it in on the front of the wheel as far as possible that way. So I do need to adjust the tie rods a little bit, but it's where it needs to be. So we're going to move on to the other side. We do the same thing we did here, then we'll crawl underneath and we'll do the tie rods, which I'm hoping are not going to put up that much of a fight. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So funny thing about this car, the guy told me, oh yeah, the AC works. It just, it stopped working one day, and I think the blend door is stuck because it only blows out hot air. I'm like, okay, that's kind of a common issue with these. I'm under here trying to move this tie rod, you know, so I can adjust the wheels in and out. The AC lines are disconnected from the compressor. Yeah, my ass. You and I both know this thing did not have working air conditioning, and you lied to me. This is also the same guy who said I could get a title for it if I wanted it. He just never put it in his name, and he signed the title. So if I went down with him to the courthouse, he, you know, and I paid the fee, he would title it in his name and give me the title. And then I had to fight with him and threaten to call the cops to get the title for him. And then after all that, he had the audacity to find me on a dating app and try to get with me. All right, so I'm an idiot. I just realized that level that I was using wouldn't even show any level for side to side. You need a different level for that. One's kind of specifically for measuring angles and shit like that. And I don't have that. So what I did is I ended up using my phone with the compass. I set it on one wheel and it told me, you know, the direction towards east and south. And I set it on the other wheel and one was like 75 degrees north and one was like 90 degrees north. So what I'm doing is I'm basically adjusting them until they show the same reading, and then that's close enough for me. All right, now that we got the not so fun stuff, all the mechanical crap done, what we can do now is, like I said, mount this roof rack, man. This is gonna be the fun part. Got this roof rack off Marketplace, and it's not a bad one. I think I paid like 40 or 50 bucks for it. It wasn't horrible, but I did end up finding a better one. Like I said, at the local Invinci overstock and damaged goods warehouse. Let me show you guys what I found. Number one, what I found is roof rack rails for something, which will work for what we're gonna do, and brand new. Oh, come on. Come on, there you go. Literally brand new roof rack. New in the box with all the hardware. I hope. So I did buy it from an overstock and damaged goods warehouse, so I hope this wasn't one of the ones that were damaged and like missing half the hardware. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna pull this new roof rack out of its enclosure here. I'm gonna assemble it because that way I can measure it, and then I can see exactly where I want to mount these roof racks. So real quick, I'm gonna assemble this guy off camera. You guys don't need to see me throw together a roof rack, but I'm gonna do that, and then I'll measure it, then I'll mark out where we need to drill it on the town car to mount them rails, and then we can start assembling this turd. All right, so we've got the roof rack assembled, and it's actually a hair longer than the old one. It's still forward a little bit on this side, but it's forward a little bit on this side. So it's a hair longer. It is in way better shape rust-wise. I'm not gonna have to do any work, you know, touching up paint and everything like that to keep it from getting any worse, so that's good. But one thing I forgot about is I have this roof spoiler. I'd forgotten about it for a minute. I bought this forever ago for this car. I think it looks kind of goofy and funny right there. Before I mount this roof rack, I want to put this on here to make sure I'm not going to have it too far back and it's going to hit this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to self-taper this thing right to here. I'm going to drill a hole in the roof on this side to run the wires for it. It does have a center brake light, so I'll run the wires through here and probably just wire it into this center brake light in the back there. So we'll do that. Then we can set this thing up there, mark out some stuff, and screw in our roof rails at the top of this guy. Then, once we got all that secure, it's exactly where we want it. We can test fit it a couple times. We can go through and actually undercoat and seal this whole roof. I want to put undercoating on this so it's not going to leak through the hole I drilled to run the wires. Same thing with these. I don't want the holes I drill to hold the roof rails and all that crap on to leak. So I'm gonna, like I said, undercoat this thing. It's gonna look cooler, it's gonna seal, it's gonna be awesome. So that's gonna be a pretty neat little upgrade here. Now I'm gonna put you guys in the back and we're gonna secure this thing, like I said, with some self-tappers, drill a hole for the wires. I'm not even gonna wire it right now. I just wanna get this roof all secure and done before it rains. It's thinking about raining tonight, so I wanna get that undercoating and everything on this roof, so that way it has time to dry before it comes down. That should be the whole way through. Whoop. Yeah. Where's this door? I got attacked by leaking. Oh, it's gonna fit perfect. Come forward a bit, I think. All right, you want to grab your tape measure out your pluck? Oh my God. Oh, yeah, it could stand to be just a bit wider. All right, I've got the back one marked out. Now I've got all I've got to do is assemble these things. They've got bolts right here, you know, to make them wider and narrower and crap. These are like legitimately like the perfect size. They're gonna be almost right on the money. All right, we've got roof rails installed on it. The back's a little bit lower than I was hoping it was going to be, but I can fix that. I have the some of the mounting blocks for that old roof rack. I'll just screw them to the bottom of the mounting blocks for here, the little plastic pieces, and then I'll bump it up just enough to make that one work, I believe. Should be good. Said it looks a little bit wonky, but I mean, dude, 20 bucks. All right, I went and grabbed some silicone caulking and a caulking gun. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go through, like I said, caulk all the gaps that are there around that back wing, underneath the roof rails, you know, where they're supposed to clamp onto something that's pre-installed. Then while that's sitting and drying for a bit, I'm going to go through and scuff up the whole roof, because you do not want to paint onto something that has normal factory paint that's not scuffed. Factory paint, if it's not, you know, peeling or anything like that, is still very slick, and paint cannot grab to that. So what you're gonna wanna do is take some like 600, 700, 500 grit sandpaper and just scuff it up enough where that new layer of undercoat, paint, whatever it is, has something to grip to. So that's what we're gonna do. Like I said, we're gonna caulk, and then while that's drying, we're gonna go through and scuff this whole thing so that undercoat that I wanna spray onto the roof and over this whole car at some point has something to grip to and doesn't immediately just peel right off. Sexy car. Okay, so change of plans. It's gonna rain in 3 or 4 hours, and this isn't like the Buick. I kind of want this to look good and not immediately peel off, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Why? I like that, because people can't come and steal your shit. This side and that side, and then we can move your side. You know what I mean? Well, like musical chairs.
Just gonna look from the front, shimmy the way off.
Oh man! Well, I shut the back door so I can see the mud tires. It's a good looking car, dude. All right, just like that, we've got ourselves a roof rack mounted. It's screwed in. It's mounted. I still need to wire in the little wing I put on there and all that crap, but I did caulk everything, so it is sealed. I put these covers back on there. I locked them. It's not going anywhere. I can rock the whole damn car with it, so that's kind of neat. I've actually got a little roof rack to haul crap, which is really nice. It does complete the look. It does look pretty neat on there. I am loving the way this thing looks with all the off-road stuff and lifted and the roof rack on. It's going to look great with the light bar and the push bar and everything on it. It's going to look awesome. But like I said, it's going to rain in a bit, so I'm not going to undercoat it right now on the roof or any of that crap. We're going to move on to other things. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to weld this patch panel back here on this hood. We'll weld that panel back on here so that way whenever it rains, it doesn't get water and crap all over the battery and start corroding all the battery connections. Once we're done with that, I'm going to take some wire and I'm going to run a wire from the battery all the way inside. And then somewhere up under here, I'm gonna mount a fuse panel. I've got one of those aftermarket ones, you know, that you run a wire into, and it's got 10, you know, little outputs. So for all of my lights, I'll be able to put fuses and stuff like that in here, and I won't have to go all the way under the hood to do it. And then if it's not raining by that point, we might build a little enclosure right here for the switch panel and maybe mount up my siren box, my CB radio. This is just kind of a play it as I go type of thing. Guess I'm gonna have to. As it literally ain't grabbing nothing. Huh. Well, ain't that special? Guess it's self-tapper time. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just using this hard plastic shield, I think air dam or something that came off the bottom of it that's been dragging for a while and I finally cut off. I'm just gonna run some self-tappers from underneath, like that. And then whenever I undercoat the hood and everything like that, I'll just take a grinder and I'll nip them off and the undercoating will cover it all up. So the body, man, look at that, it's so good. Yeah, I use silicone to seal the gap. Don't worry, it'll look great whenever it's covered up with undercoating, whenever that happens. I don't know when it's gonna happen. All right, now that that is done and I'm a genius body man, let's run those wires inside and hook up that fuse box and
start prepping all that stuff. Because I do have a plan. I want to put a light bar in the front of there. I want to put a light bar on the crash bar that's going to be here. I want to put a light bar. I want to put a couple pods right here. I do have a couple brackets that'll bolt onto right here that can hold some pod lights. I'm probably going to put 1 or 2 down the side here, and then 1 on the back. Then I've got a push bar back here that's going to wrap around the back bumper and cover up my spare tire that's going to be hanging out right about here. And you may be asking yourself, why am I going to have so many lights on this thing? Well, now I plan to adventure with this car. I'm going to get this thing running and driving great. Then I'm going to take it on trips. I'm going to take it down, you know, trails and stuff like that. And if I can have full 360 lighting on trails at midnight whenever I'm driving, it's going to help me avoid obstacles and and hopefully avoid me getting stranded in the middle of nowhere. So let's move on to putting that fuse box inside the car, and then we can... Right, so I got a breakthrough here. I found a little grommet that I was able to push back here. I don't know if it's the parking brake cable or something, but can you focus, please? I gotta clean up the camera, I guess. Down in there, where that screwdriver goes, little hole in the firewall right there. I was able to put my wire through it. So now we got one wire that goes through there, up under here, underneath the dash, and it goes over to our passenger side where we need it. So now we can start wiring shit in. Whenever you're running long wire and everything like that that is powered, you want to put a fuse at the very, very first opportunity. So that way if something grounds out downstream, it'll just blow the fuse and not burn your car down. So I'm going to fuse these end links, and then I'm going to clean up all this wiring and everything like that, and I will see you guys in a minute. All right, so we've got the 2 wires right there with fuses in line. They're all waterproof. They're zip tied up underneath this cover here. I also installed the PA system speaker right there. It's an old school one. I actually got it off that Firebird over there. It was hanging out in the engine bay. It's from Radio Shack. It's kind of retro. If you got any electronic guys want to look at it, there's the number for it. Got it installed there, and then I also ran the wires for it inside here. Zip tied them up out of the way where they're all neat and tidy and not going to hurt anything. They come up underneath the firewall, going over above my panels. We got the 2 wires right here for that PA speaker. Then we got the 2 power wires for our fuse block over there. So now we can install the fuse block and run power to it. And then we can actually, like I said, we can run power to stuff and we can start installing all the cool stuff here. It definitely works. All right, now that I confirmed it works, I'm gonna disconnect the speakers real quick. This thing does have an internal speaker. I'll show you guys everything it can do here. All right, if I kick this thing on here, I don't know if you guys can hear it. Yeah, we've got a lot of them. We've got power switches for lights and stuff over here. It's what those 2 extra wires are for. So yippee, she's working great again. All right, I'm gonna clean up all these wires and everything, make them a little bit prettier. Then we're gonna go get a CB radio, and we're gonna put it right on top of this one. Then we'll wire that all together as well. All right, and I cleaned up and zip tied some of the wires together so they're clean over there. I got both of the radio handles taped up there. They're just Velcroed up there. Don't have anything, don't have the little clips or anything like that yet. I'm going to order some off of Amazon or eBay or something. But for now, that'll hold it just fine. And right here is my CB radio that I actually pulled out of that old Buick Century or whatever the hell that thing was that we scrapped. This is up underneath the seat, and if you listen, it actually does work. You see it lights up there and everything. It has a speaker built into it. I don't have an antenna for it, so it's obviously not going to be able to pick anything up yet. And that's kind of why I have these things secured together with zip ties for now. I'm going to have to pull this thing back apart and hook up an antenna and maybe an external speaker if I want to. But for right now, these things are going to hold together just fine. They're not going anywhere. They're both wired in. They both have grounds. They both have fuses. And it's all looking pretty neat. All right, I lied. I'm going to fit the whip I got here. Now, the speaker for that PA system and everything came from the Firebird. This cable also came from the Firebird. This, I don't even know where it came from. It was just in my garage. That was a bunch of old parts my dad never wanted to use anymore, so I've got it. And then my buddy gave me these amazing brackets from his work. Now, what's going to happen is this little bracket right here. I've got 4 of them. I'm going to use 2 of them for the front, like I said in the last video, for light bars. On the back here, I'm going to mount one of them about, right about there. Might space it up just a little bit. I'm going to use some self-tappers on the bottom 2 holes, the top 2 holes to secure it. And then I'll drill a hole, I'll run that cable the whole way up to the front, and then we should have a proper functioning CB radio. Now I can already hear what you're saying. That's not the proper way to mount that well. This metal on the body is way too thin for the welder I have. It just burns right through it. I was going to weld these things, but like I said, it's way too thin. Need to get something longer. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, that's better.
Yeah, it gets hot. Perfect.
I'm literally the greatest of all time.
That was literally,
Yeah,
it doesn't get much closer than that. Alright, hold on a second.
Come here, people. You can hear us yell at people. I wonder if we're going to talk about Obama's birthday again.
Obama jumped out of his cake. It was when, don't want to know, but Obama surprised him and he jumped out of his cake till 410.
What is
Obama jumped out of his cake for pan.
Do you remember Obama?
Good callback.
Do you remember Obama's birthday? How do you use this? It's coming in and out.
It does work. I am the antenna.
707.
Yeah, man, I wish you'd come down this way, man. Hey, now you know why I go by Black Smoke. Hey, 1400. You know why I like to go by Black Smoke now, hey, 14.
Drop the bomb. You know why I go by Big Smoke now.
Yeah, man, I used to work with them guys, man. Me, Don, and Steve, we all used to work together. We were working along with together for about, I don't know, about 6-7 years. And then I had to venture on, man. That wasn't my cup of tea.
I can't believe you didn't get on there immediately. Like 6-7.
I'm going to have to read up on how to use one of these things.
Boy, you come up in there with a hammer, man.
Come up in there with a hammer, man. All right, we got that sealed up with some silicone. Whenever I paint this thing, I told you guys a million times probably by now, I'm going to bed liner this whole thing. I like the way they look. That's all going to get covered up in bed liner, so it's going to seal it even more. I'll probably tape off, you know, probably all this chrome right here and just bed line all of this crap, the connections, all that stuff. So that way it doesn't get water in there and corrode it. I don't know if that cable itself is an outside cable. I don't know if they make inside and outside cables. I know in that Firebird it was inside of the car, so I don't know if it's one of those waterproof cables or not. I don't even know if you need one of those waterproof cables or not. I don't know if they all are waterproof. I don't know anything about CB radios, but I have one on my car now, so that's kind of cool. And then off camera I ran that little ground block right there. I ran a wire all the way over to there, hooked it up right there to the factory grounding point, so I have a ground block right next to my power block, and that way all the wires are pretty much the same length and I don't have a bunch of extra red or black wire. All right, now that we got that done and this thing's all secured together and they both do work, now we can move on. So longtime viewers of this channel know I did originally buy this thing for parts for my Crown Victoria. My Crown Victoria is a old police model, so it didn't have any of the fancy things inside of it. And those are the things I wanted on my Crown Vic. I wanted the leather seats that this thing had. I wanted the wiring harness for those electric seats. I wanted the automatic climate controls, the fancy steering wheel, the door seals with felt on them. Let me show you guys what I mean here. Unlike normal Crown Vics and Mercury Grand Marquis, this bit right here is actually still part of the door seal. It's just rubber inside. On these fancier ones, they're felt, so they actually are a little bit more fancy on the inside. along with a few other things like these back panels right here. Those are felt on a Lincoln Town Car, and on the Crown Vic, they're just plastic, along with the seatbelt trim right there. There's just a few things here and there that I wanted to put on my Crown Vic that would make it a little bit more comfy on the inside. And well, I robbed those things off of this car like a year and a half ago when I bought it, and I just never put them back on. And sadly, there are a few things that aren't going to work on my car. Like these front door seals, I'm going to have to check, but I think these doors are shaped a little bit differently, so these are not going to work. I do know for a fact the A-pillars and the A-pillar things right here, those were also felt when the Crown Vics were just plastic. I ripped them off to put them on my other car. And when I originally bought this thing forever ago, I was still under the impression that these cars are pretty darn similar to Crown Vics. Now I know that they're kind of not. From the outside, they look very similar to a Crown Vic, but they have different windshields, they have different rear doors, they have different front doors, they have different trunks. On these cars, the trunk is actually smaller than it is on a Crown Vic because they made the rear legroom longer to prioritize passenger comfort. The roof is shaped a little bit differently. God, my dogs are just freaking out in there. Poor things. Dad's been gone for 2 seconds. So the plans I originally had for this thing are probably not going to work. And looking back at it, I can just buy a felt kit. And thinking about it a little bit harder, my Crown Victoria, it's going to be a black interior. And I can just felt that thing. They sell these kits or flock it, and it'll look like felt. I'm sure you guys have seen these dashes before, you know, they're on race cars and things like that. They sell kits specifically to flock dashes, plastic, anything. I'll just buy that kit and do that. So I'm just going to throw everything in this interior back together, the door seals, all that crap, make this thing actually, you know, not have a puddle on the inside whenever it rains, because without these door seals, this carpet is literally wet right now. Same thing with the trunk seal. The trunk seal is felted, and I'm going to throw that all back together with the trunk carpet and all that crap. Like I said, I originally thought I could put it on my Crown Vic, but it's just not going to work. It's a different shape, and it's going to be way too much work to adapt it, so I'll just make something custom with the Crown Vic stuff. All right, so I did find the door seals for it in my trunk. The Crown Vic trunk is kind of where I tossed all of these random parts. I didn't, like, you know, which ones I didn't know I was going to use or not. This is Town Car shit. This is the is this Town Car shit or is this Crown Vic shit? That is Crown Vic shit. Okay, this is saying. Let me start shuttling all these parts outside. I'll be right back. All right, I looked everywhere. I couldn't find the trunk seal for it, but the one off my Crown Vic is close enough, and it already is showing signs of being old and ripping anyways, so. The Crown Vic, I really do care about this thing. I care about, but, you know, it's a beater. It's got like 300,000 miles on it. I didn't pay too much for it. So it's the perfect thing to have parts donated to it whenever they're too nice, or they're not nice enough for the daily, but they're too nice to throw away. So we'll throw this trunk seal on it. Then I've got all the carpet in it. We'll throw all this crap back together. Then we'll make the interior, at least the trunk side of this thing, look like a car again. Trunk seal. Look at that. Damn. All right, well, I guess the lines line up, but yeah, it's like a foot longer. Yeah, damn. Yeah, look at that. It's actually going to seal now. Okay, let me go grab some snippers real quick. We'll nip off like literally like 8 inches of it. Damn. I knew they were a little bit off. I didn't realize they were that far off. Maybe. This might be out of a different car. I've had 2 of these Lincolns that I bought originally for parts. One of them was like an 03 or 04, and one of them was the 99. I'm wondering if this trunk piece isn't out of that 03 or 04, because it is not lining up like at all. I know is correct, because it has the air switch and everything, where the other Lincoln didn't. Well, it had the air switch, but it was at a different spot. Okay, slide that thing in there, slide that there. There you go, come on, there you go. Oh, wait, I see it. I'm an idiot. I had it backwards. It goes like this. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, see, it goes in like this. Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I've got this thing that covers up right here where the trunk and everything shuts. Oh my god, look at how fancy this thing's gonna be. All right, we got a trunk now. Look at this fancy shit. I mean, it's dusty as hell. Been in my garage forever, and there's a few zip ties holding things together, but look at that. It's no longer just metal. It's an actual trunk again. So, all right, now that we got that figured out, let's move all these parts and everything back here now that they're not going to get soaking wet and all that crap, and we can start working on the inside.
All right, and with all that stuff out of the way, we got a semi-cromulent automobile now. I still need to figure out the front end on this thing. I still need to figure out the tires that are leaking down. I've still got a handful of things to do, like fix the headlights, so that way they can actually come on before I can drive this thing realistically. But we're a little bit closer. We've got some cool stuff installed. We've got some aerials. We've got the roof rack. We've got the roof rails. We've got the hood fixed. I mean, we've got a handful of things fixed on this turd, and we're just closer to having it be an actual good car again. Still have got some ways to go with the old girl, but we're getting there. All right, well, let's film an outro for this video. All right, and just like that, we've got a little bit more done to the town car that I've kind of always wanted to do to it. Like I said just a second ago, we got this roof rack on it, we got the rear wing. This thing looks a hell of a lot better than what it did before. And we've got the little PA system on it. We can have some fun on some back roads whenever nobody's looking. And we can listen into all the truckers' radios now. And maybe even talk back to them. I haven't been able to get anybody to respond to me, so I don't know if the mic on the CB radio works, but the speaker does. So we can at least listen into all the beautiful conversations that they've had on there. What? I know every single time we get a CB radio on this channel, in the old RV video, what was the other video we had a CB radio on? I know we had another one somewhere. Maybe I'm just losing my damn mind. I could have swore we had another CB radio somewhere. Maybe not, but every single time we have a CB radio, it seems that there's some glorious conversations going on in there. And, well, at least in this thing now, we can listen on to them. And if everything that I heard was correct, the people I was picking up were somewhere near Kansas City, which is like a 3 to 4 hour drive. And I even think I picked up somebody near the Great Lakes. So these antennas are actually giving us a pretty darn decent range. So no matter the spot, no matter the conversation, we're gonna be able to hear it and kind of get some good laughs out of it. And without any farther ado, I'm gonna end this video here. Like I said, I apologize for it being kind of filmed out of order. It just kind of, I figured eight myself, and like I said, I kind of filmed 2 videos. I figure eighted both videos. This car just kind of makes me goofy and act like a kid again. It's so much fun to work on. It's so much fun to build. I kind of lose track of exactly what I set out to do and kind of go, ooh, this is shiny, ooh, this is shiny, ooh, this is shiny. And I just kind of lose track of what I was doing. But like I said, I am making progress to getting this thing back on the road, making it an actually okay and good looking daily driver. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we need to figure out the front end. I've called a few shops and they're starting to look for parts for me. I know one of the tie rod whole bars on this thing is completely seized up. It's not loosening, it's not tightening, so I need to buy another one so we can actually align it. It's still not running perfectly, so I did buy coils and plugs for it. I'll do a full new pack of coils and plugs, maybe throw some injector cleaner in it, and just kind of figure out why it's not running perfectly. It's running better than it was, but it's still not perfect. I mean, this thing does have like 270 to 280,000 miles on it. It has a leaking head gasket. I mean, this thing isn't probably gonna run perfect, but I want it to run a little bit better. I need to fix the tire leaks that are on it. I need to fix the fact that it doesn't have any rear brakes in the front, and the front end is making a weird noise. I think there might be I think one of the brake pads is basically worn down to metal, so it might need a brake job on the front. So we've got some things to tackle before we can actually daily drive this thing to and from work, but we are making progress. And I'm gonna end this video here. I'm getting over a cold. My voice is just now coming back, but if I still do go too high pitch, I cut out, I lose my voice, my throat kind of hurts, so I'm not gonna talk much more. I'm just gonna kind of end this video here and go back inside and probably go back to sleep. I had a pretty bad sinus infection and I'm getting over it, but I'm still not perfect. So without any farther ado, this was Josh from Riskers and Wrenches working on my 1999 lifted Lincoln Town Car. If you guys like this car, I have plenty of videos of it here on this channel, long before we did the front end lift, when it was just lifted on the back with wooden blocks and base tires. We did a bunch of burnouts with it, threw it into a ditch, drifting it, and we lifted it here on this channel. We put these tires here on this channel. I've done basically everything with this car here on this channel. If this car isn't your groove, I've got a bunch of other stuff. I've got a Buick I cut the roof off of. I've got a handful of 3rd gen Firebirds I'm fixing up. I've got a $1,000 F-150 that I bought, and it's been a great work truck. It's got a good spread of stuff here on this channel. I would really much appreciate it if you stuck around and gave me a shot. And without any further ado, like I said, this was Josh from Riskers and Wrenches. I hope you guys are having a good day, night, week, whatever it is. I hope you guys are having a great one, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out and goodbye.
be the guy that, you know, filmed random children without their consent, that'd probably put me on a watch list somewhere. Yeah, that rear end's not really on there anymore.
Mr. nicknames his private member Lazarus because he has risen from